Hello everyone, welcome to this video where we are going to talk about sum versus XOR, which is a problem under bit manipulation of algorithm on HackerRank. So in this problem we receive as input an integer n, and we are supposed to find out how many elements less or equal to that n exist in such a way that the n plus that element is equal to the n XOR that element. Let us take this example. Let us say 5 for instance. 5 will return 2. Why will 5 return 2? Because if you say 5 plus 0, it will give you 5. If you say 5 XOR 0, it will give you 5. This means that the 5 plus the element which is 0 is equal to the 5 XOR 0. And the same for 2. And those are the only elements from 0 to 5 which will give you this answer. Now that we have one example, how are we going to approach the problem? So for me to approach the problem, I'm going to start with a kind of map, right? So I will have this map. This map is telling me that 1 plus 1, so this 1 plus 1 will give me 1 0, whereas 1 XOR 1 will give me 1. 1 plus 0 will give me 1. 1 XOR 0 will give me 1. 0 plus 1 will give me 1, 0 XOR 1 will give me 1, and 0 plus 0 will give me 1, and 0 plus 0 XOR 0 will give me 0. Now with this map, what can I conclude? I can conclude that only those three are equal. You see, this is equal to this, this is equal to this, this is equal to this. That means if I have a number like this, I'll just put something random. If I have a number like this, for them to be equal, if I found a 1, right, I can only have a 0, because if I have a 1 and then I put a 1 down to the element, they are not equal. So if I have a 1, the number here down should only be a 0. But if I have a 0, you do agree with me that I can put either a 0 or a 1. What does that mean? That means if I have an element where let's say I have an element like this, 1 0 1. From this I can say that we said that 1 is only 0. If I put a 0 here, this is going to meet the condition sum and XOR. Now since under this 0, since this is a 0, that means this one too, 1 0 1, and 0 1 0. This is also one solution, and this is one solution. So every element that is actually 0 in my input actually give me two possible solutions, which is actually 0 or 1 at that position. So if I have the number of 0 in my input, I know each of those 0 is actually giving me two possible solutions. So I will just have to make each 0 is giving 2, each 0 is giving 2, each 0 is giving 2. So if I have 2 0, if I have 3 0, I'm going to have 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to return 8, right? So now the problem just rely on counting the number of 0 in my input, and that will be all. So how do I code such thing? So I'll have int result will be 0. It depends on you now. There are a lot of approaches to count the number of 0 in an element. So I'm going to go with a while loop and say while I have n, and dive into my loop. What will I say? I will say result times equal to, this is maybe a bit trickier, so feel free to use the one you're more comfortable with. The idea is to count the number of 0. I will start 1. I will directly count and multiply it. I will say if n modulo 2, then if n modulo 2, that means when you put nothing, that means if this one is true, that means if n modulo 2 is equal to 1. If n modulo 2 is equal to 1, that means the number is odd. And if the number is odd, that means the last character is a 1. So it's not a 0. If it's not a 0, I just multiply by 1. Otherwise, I multiply by 2. And then at the end of this, I just need to say n divided by 2. And then at the end of this, I just need to return result. Let us run this and see what it gives. It's working. Let us submit. I'm missing one test case. So one thing you should pay attention is our limit. The limit here is till 10 power of 15. 10 power of 15 is actually a really big number, right? So this is actually exceeding the int value. So you should consider using a long year. If you use a long year, everything is okay now. Everything is going. So this is my approach of solving this. I hope you do enjoy it. Feel free to play around to change the approach of finding the number of 1. Maybe you can count and power at the end. The idea is really to count the number of 1, and that number of 1 is going to just multiply each by 2. So if you have the number of 1, which is 2, the result will be power of 2 of the number of the count. So play around. Don't hesitate to give me any feedback. I'll be really happy to interact with you regarding this. See you on the next video. Ciao.